and yet everyone and their mama seems to just forget that Yotei even exists. Now, before it came out back in 2025, this game already caused some controversies. First of all, uh, one of the developers of the game, one of the many people that worked on this game, said something mean about Charlie Kirk. And my feelings on Charlie Kirk is that, yeah, he's just a rich conservative douche, and, he's dead now, so I don't really care. I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was until he was assassinated, and then I watched his debates where he challenges people who are way younger than him to own the libs. And I was like, man, people celebrate this guy. He didn't join the army. He didn't, he wasn't a police officer. He wasn't a firefighter. He was just a really rich, well-off guy that made a living talking shit. Anyway, one of the developers of Ghost of Yotei, they said something mean about Charlie Kirk, and then that caused a big old fuss on YouTube with a bunch of online people crying about it. But I mean, it all worked out though because that developer, despite using their First Amendment rights, they did get fired. So that happened, and I do also think that the developer they said something inappropriate on social media, and as a professional game developer, yeah, that's not really the best thing to do, especially when you're making a game. So yeah, that's why that developer got fired. So that was the first thing. That was the first controversy. Then the other controversy is that they replaced Jin Sekai, the protagonist for Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm like, why do we need Jin Sekai back? His story was already complete in Tsushima. Like, do you want Ghost of Tsushima 2? Do you just want to have the same island with nothing new really added? Because the thing about Ghost of Yotei is that this game takes place in a setting where guns were more used. You know, Ghost of Yotei or Ghost of Tsushima, I believe it takes place in I believe it takes place in around the year 1200, and Ghost of Yotei takes place I believe in the 1600s. I could be wrong, but either way, Ghost of Yotei, it takes place in a more advanced time, so it makes sense not to have Jin Sekai because Jin Sekai is dead, and his story is already over. Uh, my thoughts on Ghost of Tsushima. It came out in 2020. And that was when COVID made everybody miserable, and that's when The Last of Us 2 made more people miserable. And yeah, a lot of people love Ghost of Tsushima. I don't. Ghost of Tsushima just reminds me of any other open world Ubisoft game. The characters feel artificial. They're not that memorable. And all you really do in Ghost of Tsushima is just ride your horse there and then cut down some people with your sword. And the thing about Ghost of Tsushima is that the stealth is not that good. Enemies in Ghost of Tsushima are so easy to trick and sneak around. Like their AI feels like something made by a baby. You know, I've seen smarter AI in older video games like Metal Gear Solid 3. Hell, even Metal Gear Solid 2 from the year 2001 has smarter AI than Ghost of Tsushima, a 2020 game. And I thought Ghost of Tsushima's story was just the basic shtick, Oh, these Mongols, I had to use dirty tactics to take them down. It's basically Far Cry 3 all over again, but even Far Cry 3 at least has more personality than Ghost of Tsushima. So then I got Yotei. Oh yeah, another thing about the people who hated on Ghost of Yotei before it came out is that they complained that the character looked too ugly. I disagree. Atsu looks fine. She looks like a Japanese lady, you know. And Ghost of Tsushima, it also has some unattractive looking samurai women in that game as well, but nobody really cried about it. I mean, in fact, one of them from the Adachi family, they were literally gay or bisexual or something, and nobody complained about that in Ghost of Tsushima. So now, whatever. So anyway, I got Ghost of Yotei, and I only played it for about 5 hours and got bored because it was basically Ghost of Tsushima all over again. The AI during stealth segments, yeah, they're still really dumb. You just hide in some tall grass for 5 minutes, and then the AI, no, not even for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is 300 seconds. You hide in some tall grass and Ghost of Yotei when the enemy spots you or sees dead bodies, and they'll only look for you for about 20 seconds before giving up. So yeah, the AI during stealth segments, they're still not that smart. The combat was fine. It's a little bit more diverse than Ghost of Tsushima, and it's just another revenge plot. And I'm gonna be honest, I am really sick of seeing revenge plots in video games. I mean, my goodness, man. Like there was a Last of Us 2 that had a revenge plot. And then, even before the 2020s, there were plenty of other games with revenge plots as well, like Xenoblade Chronicles. Everything that happened in that game was motivated by Schultz wanting revenge on the Mechon, the robot enemies. God of War 3, that's also a revenge plot. Um, yeah, even Red Dead Redemption 1 has a moment where there's a revenge plot. Then Metal Gear Solid 5, that game is all about getting back at Skullface and getting revenge. I'm just so sick of seeing revenge plots. So here we got a 2025 game with another revenge plot. It's just Kill Bill, but less interesting and less funny. And yeah, I mean, the game sold well. It had nice reviews, but Ghost of Yotei to me is just another by the numbers AAA game. You know, and the NPCs that you can interact and talk to, they're not that interesting. When I think of a game with interesting NPCs, what comes to my mind would be something like classic Final Fantasy, or one of the Yakuza games. The NPCs in Ghost of Yotei, they just feel so robotic. They just stand still. They don't really say anything funny. They don't really say anything interesting. I mean, even Red Dead Redemption 2 has better NPCs in this game. But one of the cool things about Ghost of Yotei is that you can interact with NPCs to get certain information, but even then, that appeal kind of goes away because that information, it's just the pause menu, the map menu, it'll just tell you where to go anyway, so it kind of ruins the immersion. And yeah, I don't know if I really want to play this game and beat it, because I was so bored, and it's so predictable too. Like there was a part where Atsu, she's a bounty hunter. She had to go after one samurai or one ronin or whatever, who was who was like a bad guy. It was a murderer, and then he's like, "Before you kill me, let me play one more song." And then Atsu's like, "Okay, I'll follow your wish." And I saw that moment coming, and I was like, "Is that supposed to be beautiful? Because if not, it's kind of corny." And yeah, I mean the combat, it was fun. But I've seen other games with more fun combat, like the Batman Arkham games, Yakuza Zero. In fact, any of the Yakuza games are way more over the top and more funny than this game's combat. Bayonetta, God of War. There are so many other games with combat that I prefer. Ghost of Yotei just is mostly just sword fights, and if I wanted sword fights, I could just play Ghost of Tsushima, right? Also, Ghost of Yotei has a very empty, lifeless feeling open world. I get that because that's supposed to be part of the realism. That's part of the time. And if I wanted to just go out into a lifeless or empty environment, I could just go out to like the plains of America or something like that. I could literally just go outside. And yeah, that's all I'll say. Ghost of Yotei, it's just another. It's basically just an Ubisoft game. You know, and it's not even like the good type of Ubisoft game like you got with Far Cry 3. This is just a by the numbers type of game. It's literally just Assassin's Creed, but I guess it's prettier and less buggy.